Hello, this is Creative Ends platform and you are welcome to my channel. Today I'm making an illustration on a turban which one of my subscribers sent to me. The method I am using now is not the only method for making this turban, but I'm just trying to see if I can actually interpret the concept that she sent to me. All right, so after making this video I discovered some things which will make me to repeat a similar video as I proceed in this channel. I'm going to repeat a similar video. I think it might be better, or it will be better than this. So for this simple illustration, I'll be using scuba material and then the veil net for this project. So the scuba material that I will be using is what I am measuring now, and the measurement I will use is 30 by 30, 30 inches wide, 30 inches long, because I want to create a body pleated turban. And to help me do that accurately, I first of all start by ruling out all the space that I need to sew. So every line that I am ruling out there, I'll be folding the lines in by about quarter of an inch or less than quarter of an inch to sew it. I'll sew the whole lines, just moving in either quarter or points, or I'm just using like point 2 to sew each of the lines. That's the way we create body pleated turban. I chose a body pleated turban for this project because of the back fall. So I'll take it to my sewing machine and sew out from every line quarter of an inch. Then I'll come back and show you the finishing of the sewing. So the next thing I want to do is that I'm going to use yori yori fabric. That's what we call it here in Delta State. Yori yori fabric. It's kind of a reflective fabric, but it's not thick. It's not as thick as the scuba material. So I'm going to use that to create the base for this project. And I chose a very wide base to start with because I want a base that can carry the remaining ones, because I will also be creating different up to 4 or 5 bases using the net. So I want the whole of that base that I'll be creating with the net to have a foundation that it will rest on. Therefore, I made the width of this base about uh, between um, 16 and 14. That's the wideness is between 16 and 14. So on a fold, it should be between 8 and 7. So that's the wideness, and it's so that when I am sewing, some part of the base will not be pulling out of the sewing and then posting any kind of challenge during the course of the sewing. So now I am cutting out each of the base for that I want to use for the net, and the measurement I used was 8 inches. So on a fold is going to be about 4 inches on a fold. Yes, so I will be placing the net bases on top of this yori yori base so that I can sew them and sew perfectly without any one of it losing out of the sewing. All right, so I'm doing a cross base, so I just kept crossing one after the other until I was able to get at least about 5 crosses together with the yori yori, so it made it 5. All right, so the next thing I will do now is that I will place uh, I'm going to cut out a net fabric, that net fabric that will just act like a covering of the turban for me. Don't forget that I already have a body pleated turban which I made out of scuba, but I'm going to have a net that will cover the top of the scuba. So because of that, I'll first of all cut out uh, the net that will cover the top of the scuba. So this is the scuba and this is the net. The measurement I'll be using for the net is going to be about 15 inches for the width, that's 15 inches, and then for the length between 25 to 28 inches, the length between 25 to 28, and then the width 15 or 16 is perfect for the width. So when I put it like this, it will have the net on it, because this particular turban is made of net design. So net is actually used to design the turban. So because of that, we are going to be doing a lot of work with net. This scuba under is only acting as a base or a foundation on which the net and all other nets that I'll be using will be resting, because um, it will act like a solid base for it. So this is how it will look: the scuba under, the net on top. It will now be thick, it will make it thicker. So by the time you pick it together, you have something very thick. So I'm going to first of all sew all the base, that is, sew all the pleat together. I'm done with that, and I'll just show you this how it looks. I have even weaved it. I will confess to you, it's quite challenging, having almost five crosses for you to sew. So you need to be very careful with pin. You need to be very careful as you sew. Ensure that it's properly arranged. If not, some of the net will just pull out. So for me to sew the base, I used 11 inches, which I felt should have been about 13 inches. So if you are going to make yours, I prefer you use 13 inches instead of 11. 11 is looks too small, but with 13, it can be easily worn like a cap. So 13 is better than the 11 I used. I told you before that in the course of making this particular one, I discovered a lot of things that I should have done. So I'm going to make a similar turban. This time, I believe it will be better than this. And I might not use Vail net, I'll use something else, but you will get more knowledge than this. So what I did again was that after sewing the turban, which I just showed you how to sew now, I used a needle and thread to do a bit of loose stitches from both the back and the front. So that enabled me to like gather it together. Usually when I make a body pleated turban, I use loop to hold the front, but since this one is not going to have a loop, so I just gather it with the needle and thread. Sorry, I did that out of camera. So right now I want to add the net to it, because the net is the major design. All what I have done earlier is just an introduction of net, but this is the main net work that I'll be doing. So this particular project I did, I was not really having so much net, that's Vail net. I would have loved to use the quantity that will be more than what I used, because for it to really go round and get enough weight, you need enough of the net. Yes, the Vail net. So I will advise that if you are doing your own project, use between 4 to 5 years of net, even 6. Just ensure that you have enough, so that you when you feel what you've wrapped is okay, of course you are at liberty to cut off the excess one from it. So it's not going to spoil anything. It's better than not having enough. So if you are going to purchase at least 6 years, you might not finish it, but to be on the safe side, do 6 years. What I used here is not actually more than 3 years. So that's just it. It's not more than 3 years. So after picking the net and gathering it, I place it on the line with which I closed the turban from the back before. And I just kept sewing and sewing until I'm able to tuck in every of the rough edges of the net and also ensure that it's firmly seated in the body of the turban. This part of the work, you cannot do it with your sewing machine because it's going to be very thick. So I advise you do it with your hand. So the next thing I'll do is for me to just wrap the net around it. For me to wrap the net around it. So I'll just rem- keep wrapping till I get to the point I want to stop. But before I stop, I'll show you what I did before stopping. Actually, for this project, I managed the material. So I did a lot of management for me to be able to finish the project with just about 3 years of the net. So it actually depends on how thick, how heavy you want this turban to look. That's how you also apply the net to it. So I just keep ranging and turning it round. Ensure a bit of flatness because it's necessary. Not that you are just putting the net and you fix it anyhow. It's not appropriate. So ensure a bit of neatness on it is necessary. All right. So right now I need to stop because I will need to twist some part of this turban. So for me to stop, I'll take it to the back, that same line where I sewed or attached the net to the turban. I'll take it to that particular line and stop at that point. Pull it out of the dummy's head. I'll pull it out of the dummy's head and then use my needle and thread using loose stitches. I will now use my needle and thread to sew it to the body of the turban. That one will help me to hold this wrap together and it will not fall. Of course, I told you that this video is just for the purpose of illustration. A subscriber sent it to me and I hope that this particular tutorials will be able to help her achieve what she is hoping to achieve. If not, I still promise to bring up another method of making this turban, which I think might even be far better than this one. Yes, so you can see that I am actually sewing the turban, that is the net I mean, to the back of the turban there. It will help me, one, to keep the net in place. Remember, there's nothing we are doing there to keep the net in place. I'm not using hot glue. I am not doing continuous stitches. So because of that, this method I have done to hold that back will first of all help me to hold the back in place. And of course, after the whole process, I will still show you what to do to hold the front in place. All right, so quickly let me just like ship this in. If today is your first time stopping by this channel, Creative Ends platform, please do not forget to subscribe before leaving the channel, and also don't forget to recommend this channel to other persons, to other people, so that they can as well subscribe and be aware of this channel. All right, so I want to believe that the rest part of this video you will understand it as you watch carefully. There's another part that I'm supposed to come in to do a little bit of explanation. I will, I will, but if I don't, I also believe that you'll be able to follow it up and you will understand it. So while I wrap my net, I'm supposed to stop the last part of this wrap at the bottom, that is the back of the turban, not where it is there now. So that was the reason I was telling you that I actually managed this net for this project, and it's just simply an illustration. So I'm not going to sew permanently. I'm not going to sew it permanently. I don't know how urgent my subscriber needed it. So I chose to like do the illustration and send it down so that she can see it. But I'm not supposed to end it anywhere except at the final back of that turban, which will enable me also stitch it to that back and keep it in place. Then I will come back to the front of the turban, and then use loose stitches from the V point. From the V point, I'll use loose stitches together with everything, that is the net, the twisted part and everything. I will put it together and tie it. So with that one, both the back and the front will be in place, and your client can remove it and put it on at any time without altering the shape or anything in the turban, and it will still be perfect for you. But for the purpose of this video, I told you I managed the net, so I'm not going to sew it. I'm not going to do the finishing, because for me the net wasn't enough. So get the net that will be enough. Go through with this particular process that I have showed you now, and you will get a very perfect result. So this will be all for this video. I will just add a little bit of embellishment. You know, turban without embellishment does not really come out outstanding. So I'm just going to add a little bit of embellishment to it, and then I will see you in my next video. I'll see you in my next video. Do enjoy the rest of the day. I love you. I love you. I do love you. All right. So for me, it is bye for now. And again, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you love what you are seeing. If you love what you are seeing, give it a thumbs up. It will make me know that you love it, and I'll feel very good knowing that you love it. And if you have any question, please drop it on the comment section and I will reply you. That's the promise. I will reply you. All right. So, bye.